Soman, what are you doing to your leg? What is that?
This is all I want to do all day. I will go around the world preaching the benefits of hyperbole.
I don't know if the demographics of EverNever TV is the hyperbole audience.
It will be by the time I'm done with it. Hey, I'm Soman.
And I'm Jin.
And welcome to a special tank top edition of EverNever TV.
Ooh, it's sweaty.
I know, this was totally not planned.
Yes.
I was like, I'll change when June comes over, but then you were in that and I was in this, and we were like, we're just going to run with it.
What have you been up to, Soman?
I'm working on a project that I can't tell you about. So I always announce a new project like 2 weeks after the previous project comes out. Mm-hmm. So Beast and Beauty comes out September 21st. So that means you'll probably hear about whatever I'm working on next, like early October. Speaking of which, I just signed thousands and thousands of pieces of paper that are going to be stitched into the signed editions of Beast and Beauty. They are going to be all around the world, and you'll be able to get them. Barnes & Noble might already have a signed edition link up. You know what's funny is we just got our first official review from Kirkus. The cool thing about Kirkus for the Beast and Beauty review is that they always tell exactly what the audience is, and that audience sort of becomes the industry standard of what the audience is. For the first time ever, for Beast and Beauty, they said 11 to adult. It's the kind of book that I think you could read with your parents. Your parents might be a little shocked, but you're smart. You can handle it.
So in other news, the School for Good and Evil movie wrapped, which is so surreal.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy because, you know, there was no guarantee this movie would ever happen. And there were so many false starts and so many ups and downs, you know. And so the fact that it finally happened and it wrapped. And not only that, like, Paul, thank God, is the most energetic man in the history of the world and was able to just, like, wrangle them through weeks of night shoots. It's going to be something to behold.
So, speaking of School for Good and Evil, we thought it'd be really fun today to talk a little bit about 5 questions about the School for Good and Evil series. So, one of the things that we've been getting is the question, do the characters in School for Good and Evil have last names?
I think, to me, the way I sort of framed it is if you're in school, you do not. Because you have the potential to be a fairy tale character, in which case the fairy tales are only going to really know you by your sort of fairy tale name, whatever name that appears. And some characters that are adults have last names, and I'm very open about that. Some characters have middle names that either are in the books or I kept to myself. For a while I was toying with the idea of revealing Sophie's mother's middle name, because I really loved it. Her first name is Vanessa and her middle name is Eve. And I loved the idea that she had the middle name Eve because it sort of gave this kind of original sin notion to the story. And so it's funny because that was always in my head and I never found the right place to really reveal it in the story. But then in the movie, we needed to know what her middle name was. So you'll have to see if it shows up.
So the next question is, what is your secret favorite scene?
You know, it's funny because Snail Jam, we love Jamie Trope, who's one of our sort of like OG fan and posts amazing memes, had this on her Instagram the other day where she was like, what is everybody's favorite scene for book 1? And I was like, I better think about this myself. And I was like, which scene did I just love writing? And I thought about the fox scene when Sophie turns into this ridiculous pink fox and then Tedros turns into a blue fox. And I thought it was a scene that was so subversive and cool because it took the Disney trope of turning into animals and making it a little like seductive and cool, you know? Early on when we were looking at movie and things like that, it was the first thing that I was like, I can't really do that. CGI of trying to create the foxes will never live up to what your imagination held. So yeah, if you ever want to get my attention at a book signing in the future, just come up to me and hold out your fist and be like, foxes.
Fox gang! So the next question is, School for Good and Evil is translated into so many different languages, and are there ever any things that get lost in translation or like changed?
It's crazy now because School for Good and Evil is published in more than 30 languages now. It's one of the most translated kids' books ever. And so readers all over the world get to read it in their own language. But these translations change stuff. Like, Lady Lesso is not Lady Lesso in Italy. She's Lady Pocus.
Pocus?
Can someone explain to me why she is Lady Pocus? In the comments, if you are Italian, maybe Lesso means something. Lesso means something bad.
Oh no!
Okay, the other thing is they changed the title of book 2 from A World Without Princes because Principe, I think, also means principles, and so they didn't want it to be a world without principles, which I love. I actually think is better.
I love that.
I know. I was like, it works both ways. It's magic. But no, they changed it to something else.
The next question is, School for Good and Evil is obviously a very edgy series. How do you feel about a whole new big audience discovering the books?
I have so many thoughts on this. Thought number one is School for Good and Evil fans are so cool and positive and fun and energetic and creative. And so when the wider world discovers it, I think there's going to be this sort of wave amongst the fans of finally, not instead of the opposite reaction, which is like to go negative. And I think that's what I think is going to be our biggest strength. In terms of the edginess of everything, I still think I would stand by every single thing in every single book because I had a point of view at the time. And if I wrote the books now, would they be different? I don't know. You know, I'm a different person now. But each one was a piece of me at the time. Like I had to read book 2 because movie stuff. I don't know, I think that book is so ahead of its time still. You know, that whole thing with the gnomes, that they get to experiment with gender. Yeah. And then at 13 they have to pick one. I mean, like, I just think is sort of reflective of what I see with my niece and nephew, where everyone's experimenting and trying different things and forget gender, just like the way they play around with their nicknames, the way they play around with ownership over their own identity and questioning themselves and things like that. You know, those are all the things that I was exploring in book 2 with the knowledge I had at the time, you know.
For the final question we have, is there anything else coming in the School for Good and Evil world?
I don't know, you should know. You're the one who's planning our next photo shoot. And you know what a photo shoot means.
I was about to make like a ta-da, but I was like, no, we can't show anything yet.
We're not showing anything. So only June knows.
No, don't say that. People will start asking me things.
Good. Then finally, they won't ask me. When is book 7 coming? There's no book 7. It's 2 perfect little trilogies. Though, I have been thinking that if the movies do really well, I shouldn't even say this. I was thinking, how cool would it be if the movies do well that I do 3 more books in the future or whatever, but they're adults. And so it's for adults. So then I can like
oh no!
make it super adult. Because everybody who's reading it now will be old. This is like in 10 years. Are we keeping this in? That's all, folks.
Well, if this show is still on air next week and it's not taken down by YouTube,
I hope it is, because then I will have more time with my
So we have to get this away from Soman. It's distracting him too. Bye guys, see you next week.